Hello and welcome to Tracy Mommy Reads. I am back again with another video. Today, in the spirit of spooky season, and let me just say, I've been on Bookstagram for a hot minute. I scroll a lot of people's accounts, and is it just me, or is this the first year has that always been a thing? Spooky season and spooky reads? I cannot recall seeing as much about spooky season and spooky reads as I have this Halloween. So I don't know if that's something new, if it's just more people participating, or if I just have been out of the loop this entire time. I personally am not a huge fan of the horror genre, but I have indulged in a few, I guess, spooky reads this month. And I'm going to talk about a few of them together in this video. First up, we're going to talk about a couple of books I read. Amazon, they do these for Kindle Unlimited readers. I assume that's what it's for, Kindle readers, because they're ebooks. But they do these original stories that are, thematic, and they have really popular authors that contribute short stories or novellas to, these limited series. And the one that they had for this month, it was called Scared Sexy. Hopefully y'all can see that. And basically, it says about the collection, they lurk in shadows and haunt your dreams, but these supernatural creatures want more than just your soul. From an amnesiac vampire slayer to fallen angels, space vampires to cursed tattoo artists, sleep paralysis demons to ancient wish-granting entities. 6 steamy stories prove that even the most dangerous monsters deserve their happily ever after. This Halloween, treat yourself to a collection that's equal parts spooky and swoon-worthy. So yeah, there are 6 stories in this particular collection, and the authors, I'm just going to read you some of the authors. Well, I'll read all 6 of the authors. And you have Allie Hazelwood, Christina Lauren, J.T. Geisinger, Ruby Dixon, Katie Robert, and Kimberly Lemming. Now, I have only read 2 of the stories in this particular collection, and they're very short reads, but I had other books, and I'll probably finish the other 3. Other 4. Yeah, so the other 4 before the week is up, but I didn't finish them in time to talk about them today. So I'm just going to talk to you about the 2 that I read from this collection, and then another book that I read, just some quick, highlights. The first book that I read in this collection was Hot for Slayer is the name of the book. Trying to get the cover to come up here. Hot for Slayer by Allie Hazelwood. First book I've ever read by her. First one. I tried to get into the deep end, I believe, and I like dark romance just like the next girly, but I'm not really, the BSDM and young people, I'm just not into that. So I left that one alone after I realized where it was going. But this one was really good. What's crazy is she has 12,179 reviews on this particular book at 4.5 stars. It's the average rating. But the majority of reviews that I was scrolling on, they were all 5 stars. It's only 94 pages, if you can believe that. And when I read this, I was like, ain't no way that nobody's going to beat this one. And basically what it's about, there's a vampire that is a woman. So ancient vampire woman, but it takes place in present day. And then there's this vampire slayer that has been trying to eradicate her bloodline for, I don't know if he's been after her maybe for a century. I think it's been more than decades. Maybe it's been decades, but I'm thinking it's been a century. And basically when they say eradicate the bloodline, it's all of the vampires that the person that created her, all the people he created. So that's her whole bloodline. And the characters' names, I can't even pronounce. Ethelrinth, but they call her Ethel. So that's the woman's name. And then her nemesis, the Slayer, is Laszlo. I feel like, and I'm just gonna, be transparent. I feel like what really made the story for me, honestly, because with this particular set of stories, you also get the audio included. So it's the Kindle Unlimited audio. I feel like the audio is what made it for me. I really do, because Laszlo has an accent, and I don't even know if it sounds Russian, but it could be Croatian. I'm not really good with accents. I know like very few, but having the two of them, even when like it was in her point of view, like when he was talking, it wasn't like she was mimicking his voice. His voice came in. So I feel like it was a bit more immersive that way. But in a nutshell, what is happening here, we kind of get, when it opens, like a scene like maybe from the 60s or 70s, or whenever, I don't know if it was when the Berlin Wall fell or when it was, maybe it was in the 80s, that it was a place where she was. It was a historical thing happening, and he was there, because every time, he showed up, like when she kind of like had her guard down, and they had, they were like coming to blows and like about to do each other in, and then somebody interrupted. So she didn't see him again for another long time. And then in the book, she's thinking he's after her, but there's another vampire that has like, and in this world of vampires aren't really friendly with each other. They're very territorial, and they're like, you need to leave. This is my hunting ground. I should be the only person here. They're not trying to be friends. And Laszlo comes through and helps her with that situation, but he gets injured in the process, and he loses his memory. So when he wakes up, like, he doesn't realize that he's her nemesis. And it's very apparent that he's very sweet on her. He likes her a lot. And I dare I say that the feelings are mutual. So it's just a really cute, like, enemies to lovers type story. And even after his memory came back, he was kind of like, I probably could have killed you a long time ago, but I think I haven't because I like you. You know what I'm saying? So that always makes a girl feel good. But yeah, we get one spicy scene in this very short story, and it was really good. I really enjoyed this one. It was cute, but also gave you that seasonal vibe with the vampires, and with Halloween coming up, at the end of the month. Other one that I read was Falling by Christina Lauren. Falling. Now I've read 2 or 3 of their other books. And fun fact, I remember when they were both writing, I can't remember their, I think Lauren, she was going by Lola or something, but I remember these 2 ladies when they were writing Twilight fan fiction. Just had to drop that in there. And it's just so interesting. Whenever I read their books, I'm like, they used to write fan fiction. So it's very inspirational that they've gotten, to where they've gotten. And I know, like, there have been other people like E.L. James and some others, but I think I read a lot of their stories back when I was on the Twilight train. Anyway, I digress. The reason why I bring this up is because there are 2 characters in the book, main characters. Kat is the female main character, and Brigand is the male main characters. And just by looking at the wings on the cover, he is a fallen angel, even though he never says that word, but he does say that he was cast out of somewhere. And there were a lot of little references. I feel like there were a nod to Twilight. I really feel like they were doing some stuff, and I was like, okay, wait a minute. Even though it wasn't a vampire, right? The male main character, Brigand, he had to feed on humans, And his way of feeding on humans was to have sex with them, okay, the women, and that's how he got his sustenance, okay. So yeah, there's that. And it was just like some of the things that he said, and like they even had this one part in there where she asked him how old he was, and when he told her, I think he's 25, and she says, how long have you been 25? And he says, a while. And then they both kind of laugh, and she says, are you really quoting Twilight to me now? So, and there were just some other things in there as well that just, I felt like they were really doing, you know, kind of like a wink and a nod to the series. And also at the beginning of the story, like Kat is with this guy named Jake. Jacob, anybody from Twilight? So that, like, I got, you know, a tickle out of, you know, all of those connections. And this one was even shorter than Hot for Slayer. It's only like 56 pages. And I feel like it went by really fast. Like, in the sense that some of it may have been a little rushed, right? I feel like they could have done with maybe extending it out like a little bit longer, but it was still cute, and it was still it was like one of those, it was like a one night stand type thing. I don't know what the trope would be for that particular situation. It was a one night stand type thing, and just like in Twilight, you know, for those of you who've read it, remember how Edward couldn't read Bella's mind? Well, Brigand had the ability to influence, like, and put lust on these women that he had to feed from. Well, Kat felt it, but she was able to like push it away, like how Bella was a shield. I mean, it was so crazy, the parallels that I kept drawing between these two. But he was really intrigued by her, just like it was intrigued by Bella, because she could control it. Like, she wasn't totally under his spell. A couple of times she was, but I think she let herself be. So they had a really steamy scene in that one. And he was cursed. And part of the curse was it would be lifted if he met his true love, like in the future, right? Because something bad had happened in the past. When he was married and had a kid and all this stuff, but he was, you know, like really old, right? Just like Edward. But I think he was even older than like 100 years old. But the only way that it would happen, the person, like the true love, would have to see him for who he really was. And he didn't know that she saw his wings. Like, I don't know if he thought they were invisible, but then it was kind of like at the end when she was like, oh, you know, can you fly or whatever? It was the, I guess, left up to the reader's interpretation that, oh, she broke the spell. But that was kind of the end of it. So that's the only reason why I was like, that wasn't as good as Hot for Slayer. But still worth the read. You know, another good one for Halloween. And especially for fans of Twilight. You will definitely pick up on all those parallels and comparisons. All right. Okay, the next story. This is not in the, you know, Amazon original series thing. This is a totally separate book, but it is also a short story. It tops out at, let me see, 185 pages, which is, you know, still short in comparison to like the 200, 300, 400 page books that are out in the marketplace now. And I kept seeing this one on, like in the reading group that I'm in, I kept seeing this one. And when I first saw it, I mean, I'm going to show you the cover, and you have to be honest with yourself what you see, okay? Especially if you're in the United States of America, okay? So the name of the book is Ring Shout. I'm going to butcher this author's name, perhaps. It's by P. Djèlí Clark. Maybe I said it right, I don't know. But P. Djèlí Clark, Ring Shout. I really think that what this thing is in the back, this white, is a mountain, because a very important part and climax of the book takes place at this big mountain called Stone Mountain. So I think it was called Stone Mountain. But yeah, I think that's what that's really supposed to be. However, I do believe that it serves a dual purpose, because let me set the scene for you. We're like in the 1930s or maybe late 20s, like right after the movie Birth of a Nation, maybe 10 years passed, and still Jim Crow segregation in the South. And you have these three women, and I don't know, because I didn't listen to the audio, but there's a woman, I think it's Maryse, Maryse, Sadie, and then Cordelia, who they call Chef. They are monster or demon hunters, right? And the monsters that they hunt. So let me back up. This is a historical fiction, dark fantasy, and horror genre blend. The monsters that they hunt, they call them Ku Kluxes. Okay. And it is because they present like they're a part of a certain organization with white hoods or whatever. But these are like actual monsters. Like when they shed that costume and that skin, they like have multiple mouths and limbs and eyes and everything. So, you know, armed with a blade, a bomb, and bullets. And I took that from part of the book blurb. But like armed with those weapons, they like, you know, go through and they find these demon monsters and they annihilate them. And they are led, they also have like a ragtag team of other people that help them. And there's a woman who is, I think it's Gullah, it's either Gullah or Geechee. I'm so sorry. I read this a while back, but Nana Jean, she is like the person who kind of summoned all of them and got them together as a group to fight this group of, you know, demons. But here's the rub. Like, I feel like a lot of it was metaphorical, but also real, okay? What those demons actually represented they were actually racist, and they were actually, you know, a part of that organization. Where they had humans, they also had these monsters, but they were mixed together. And like a lot of the things that the author says by way of the text and dialogue in the story, you know, about how all of that even comes to be, convincing poor white people that black people are taking something away from them, and, you know, keeping them fighting while the 1% take over the world. I mean, it was all kind of stuff in there that is so true to life, but the author did it in such a cheeky way, such a clever way. The main character, she had a magical sword that she was able to summon, you know, like that these spirits had given her. And a lot of what she was going through represented her fear, represented her grief, and how she was able to exact revenge, you know, and do things afraid. So a lot of very important lessons and messages within this short book. The thing that was so diabolical about these monsters was that they fed on hate. So that's how they were able to infiltrate with the human people in that organization, because that's what gave them their strength, was hate. And they were coming for the main character because she had so much hate in her heart because they had done something to her family. She was trying to exact revenge. So, I mean, just full of like messages and things that really make you understand how all of that really works on a whole nother level. I mean, and I feel like for a lot of black people who live in the United States, and especially a lot of us who live in the South, we don't need metaphors because we know exactly what it is, you know, when we see it, and as many of us have experienced it. There was one part of the book I highlighted in the relation to that whole, you know, thing with them feeding on hate. And it says, you see, the hate they give is senseless. They already got power, yet they hate those over who they got control, who don't really pose a threat to them. Their fears aren't real, just insecurities and inadequacies. Deep down, they know that. Makes their hate like watered down whiskey. So yeah, I can't say enough about, and I was very reluctant to read this, especially in today's climate, but I'm a sucker for sheroes, badass women. I don't care what the time period is. Like, give me some badass women and I will probably read the book every time. But yeah, there are some gruesome tellings of like what happens like when they kill one of the monsters, like how their bodies shrivel up or their bones, like the things that they fed on other than hate. Yeah, and just a description of them. Like, there was this one thing I couldn't even keep reading it because it like had a bunch of mouths, and I was like, oh, that's too much. I don't know, my mind was probably doing too much. But yeah, I would highly recommend this. Not only if you're looking for something for spooky season, but if you're looking for something with some social commentary as well that has somewhat of a satisfying ending. Yes. I wonder if this is going to be like a series, if there are going to be more books, as the years go on. Will someone else become the hero with the sword? That would be pretty cool to see. But so yeah, anyway, Ring Shout by Djèlí Clark. If you have read any of the stories from the Scared Sexy Amazon original stories, let me know which one I should read next. And let me know what you thought about Falling and Hot for Slayer if you've read those. And please let me know your thoughts on the Ring Shout book. Let me know what you thought about that as well. Thank you guys so much for watching my ramblings today. Make sure that you like this video and go ahead and take the opportunity to subscribe to my channel if you have not already done so. Thanks again. You guys enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you next week.